So here we are with this Grundig Princess. Got it recapped. Whole bunch of old stuff. Ugly. Anyway, all those Aero 100s. Lots of them. And the original can cap. One resistor that was 2 kilo ohms, 2% tolerance, but it measured 50% high. It measured 3K. So it got a little bit of work here on the top, if you can kind of see that. I don't have that exact value, 2000 ohms, but I do have 1Ks aplenty. So so this guy, the original multi-cap, I just this feller was parked right there, like so. That guy, this thing was getting really warm. Not like hot, but like warm to the point where you didn't have to hold it for more than a fraction of a second to know that, oh shoot, not supposed to be that warm. So out it comes. I actually threw it on the capacitor checker. I forget which section, but 2 sections tested perfectly fine, all the way up to the rated voltage. Another section definitely failed. I forget which section in here was failing, but it had a huge amount of leakage, not even close to its rated voltage. So away this thing went. This is one of the rare occasions I am leaving the selenium rectifier. Normally I crack these open and install these guys, modern silicon diodes. This is 1N4007 diodes. That particular number handles all the current you need and has an appropriate, I don't think my phone will focus on that. Anyway, has an appropriate voltage rating for this. I think it's something like around 1000 volts for the 1N4007. But on this one, the selenium rectifier was working perfectly fine. I mean, it is no issue whatsoever. It's spitting out exactly what I'd expect voltage-wise. And doesn't seem to be suffering. So all the other whole lots of film caps, and this mess down here is why a lot of people don't like working on German sets. In addition to the very complex piano switch mechanism. There's some hard to get to film caps. I got swap-a-doo-dandied. That guy out there, what's he doing? There he is. That is perfectly fine. Not a paper cap, so he didn't go anywhere, that mustard feller. 3 other caps I typically swap out because they are electrolytics. I did not on this one, so here's one more exception. This is one of them. Cathode bypass cap for the 2 output tubes. That black thing is the cathode resistor. And then you can see back in there, little metal can. So these 3 are pretty low voltage, quite low. I think according to the schematic, expecting 15 or less volts. They seem to be, they're not leaking electrolyte. They're not bulging. They show no external signs that something's wrong with them. And running through voltage tests and checking things while I was bench testing it showed that those seem to be functioning perfectly fine. I expect they'll continue to. I bet a resistor will go excessively high and make things sound funky before these 3 electrolytics go bad at this point. But usually I just wholesale replace these 2. But usually I reserve that for my own personal projects when I can spend all of the time in the world on it. This one had a weird speaker connection. I found the schematics for the SO220, but this is the SO220-U, which has a very unintuitive set of speaker connections back here. So 2 connections go to electrostatic tweeters, and then there are another speaker connection, and then 2 that go to external speakers. Well, the schematics for the SO220, totally different. It has only a single 1 speaker per channel, 2 oval speakers, and the speaker connections for the SO220 are a lot easier to deal with. Unfortunately, this is the SO220-U. There's no sign of any schematic for this one, so bench testing, no matter what I did, no matter how I tested, you know, looking for signals, unplugging it, ohming out the leads from the output transformer, didn't make any sense. I figured out which 2 leads are for the electrostatics, because those don't go through the output transformer, so they actually have full 240-ish volts on them. But I noticed with my test speakers, which are these Jensen's rebadged as Heathkits, I got minimal volume while bench testing, and I spent 3 freaking hours, if not more, troubleshooting the entire amp. You know, broke out this guy to hunt down signal, and at every corner I turned, it was working as expected. No surprises around any such corner. Tiny signal in, slightly more signal, big signal, biggest signal. So every point in the chain, you had amplification, the expected amount. So I could not figure out why I had such I had to max the volume and it was still whisper quiet. Well, I looked at the what's printed on the back, the cardboard back that covers this, and I noticed around the hole for this plug it says, "Do not remove this connection." So I need to go through the cabinet itself and trace how they have that connected, and make personal notes for myself in the future. Because when I was doing this last night, I didn't have the cabinet. The cabinet was just dropped off this morning. So I was running pretty blind on this last night till about sunup this morning. And then the cabinet drop off was sometime at a little after 10 a.m. So I got very little sleep before that guy dropped the cabinet off. And of course, I put the chassis in the cabinet. I plug in the correct plug that goes to the rest of the circuit inside the cabinet, and full volume, works great, works perfect, sounds incredible, no issues. Son of a bitch. I did have 2 bad ECL 86s, or at least one bad one. I'm not sure which one, I just pulled them both. and pulled another pair of these out of a Telefunken console. That console was brought in by the same guy, so I still have yet to inform him that I had to cannibalize one of his other chassis to get this one going. But this is the one that needs to get back on the road first. So we'll deal with that Telefunken and its cannibalization issue later. So that's how that works. But I think initially the biggest issue this one came in the shop for was the dial string was off, so I had to restring a bit of the dial, the FM part of the dial, and the clutch and the tuner engaging thing. This pot metal split. So long story short, it split. The set screw no longer engaged the threads on this end. I epoxied it all back together, reused the original threads with that set screw. It worked not very long, and then the set screw let loose and stripped out the threads again. So here's epoxy round number 2. This time I filled the screw hole with JB Weld. It hasn't cured yet, so once it's done curing and hardening completely, I'm going to punch a new hole through here, get it rethreaded, and that'll allow, because this needs to be tightened down on the shaft very solidly. I've got a multitude of German sets around here, and none of them used this exact setup or had this wheel. So I have to make do on this one. Hopefully that JB Weld holds up, as JB Weld is known to do. So still waiting on this to cure before I can fix the mechanical parts, finish the mechanical parts. It might be late tonight before that's cured enough. And I'll throw that under the drill press, punch a new hole through, slightly smaller hole than I need. And I'm going to take this little set screw, just slot it in. Oops. I don't like this flat design. That doesn't really bite into the shaft that it's supposed to bite into. So I'm going to, there we go, grind a sudden but sharp point on this one. Come on, phone, focus. And not only will that make it a little easier to, well, I'm going to be using the screw to tap the new threads. So that's going to be fun and nerve-wracking, because if it doesn't work, then I have to tell the guy coming to pick it up, you'll have to wait another 24 hours for the next round of JB Weld to cure. So, because I don't have a tap this small, and these are odd threads, and there's nowhere nearby to pick up a tap. So I'm going to sharpen this to a point and just work with it very, very slowly. Been there, done that with car engines. Maybe not with JB Weld, but drilling and tapping screw threads is no brand new thing to me. So just waiting on that. In the meantime, I still got some stuff to do on the console itself. It's getting the original record changer is getting removed, and it's getting replaced with a modern turntable. It just drops in. And I need to trace the circuit, the speaker circuit and the cabinet itself, so I can make some notes for that. So I won't run into this again in the future. Otherwise, it's been all right. been it's been a German set. No big deal. And even resistors have been really good. This was the only resistor that was out. And like I said, it's supposed to be a 2%er, and it was out 50%. 2 kilo ohms, and it measured 3K. So there were 2 of these. Its companion measured better than 1%. Better than within 1% of rated. So that's that. Rock and roll, everything works. The tuning eye indicator works. Buttons, them dang old buttons clickety clack, buddy. Yeehaw. Need a little bit of cleaning right there. But I'm not in charge of cleaning. I'm just here to make this thing sang. So that's what we do. What we did. So we'll keep on trucking. And make sure we get this thing sent off sooner rather than later. Because it's time to move on to the next console. I'm super backed up on consoles. It's not even funny. Anyway. Cheerio diddles. Or something. Shit.